All right, man. I gotta ask you this because, you've been in the ring with David Benavidez. I
Yeah,
know that you give Arthur a lot of praise when he
yeah.
fought a young Anthony Yard.
hmm
And David Benavidez, third fight, 175, which, I feel like a lot of people have taken your predictions and breakdowns and they kind of like say like, all right, you know, you're always rooting against David Benavidez, which I don't think is the case, right? I think you're
No,
putting in perspective
right,
of what you feel him fighting guys that are undersized, right?
right,
Now you're seeing him fight bigger guys, and you're giving him a lot of credit for beating
right.
Alexander Gavashek,
Yep,
fighting like his equal, which was David Morrell. So how do you
Morel.
feel about him facing a veteran of championship fights in 175? He fought Arthur, he fought Sergey Kovalev, a guy that you share the ring with. David Benavidez versus Anthony Yard. Does Yard upset David, or does David get his, signature maybe knockout? Because a lot of people saying he's going to stop Anthony Yard.
Um, I think it's possible. Listen, David, I used to think David was a bully. I'm not gonna lie. Our little fiasco we had, the fight didn't materialize. So I'm like, he a bully. He just picking on guys that's too small for him. But I'm like, he's taller than me, but I'm his size as far as weight wise, and he knows it's gonna be a tough fight. But we couldn't come to an agreement, which whole another topic. But David got my respect, man. He's taking tough fight after tough fight. The fight Alexander Usyk and do well.
You mean Gavashek? Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, my bad. Gavashnik and do well to fight David Morrell and beat David Morrell down the way he did, and now he's taking Anthony Yard, who's a awkward fight. It's hard to say if he a tough fight because you don't know what he got left out taking a beating from Arthur. You don't know how much left he got in the tank. But he gave Arthur some trouble with his style, with the jittery style and the pinky hard shots. You know what I'm saying? So it's a risky fight for David, and my hats off to him for taking it. I think if he come sharp and stay alert, I think he should be all right. Only thing I'm worried about the punching power. Do we got enough power to make Anthony Yard respect him after being hit by Arthur?
Hmm.
That's the only thing I'm worried about. If he can make Yard respect him, I got him winning with flying colors. But he can't afford to let Yard sneak them hard shots in. Like he even hurt Arthur. He hurt Arthur with a shot.
Hmm.
And he can't get hit with shots like Arthur was getting hit with. That's my opinion. But do I think he win? I'm leaning more towards David to win, absolutely. But I think you need to be real careful. You need to be very careful and box and pick your shots and not just wing shots. And Anthony Yard is experienced, like you said. And he is sharp. He is sharp. You know how to shoot shots in. He's a big guy, strong guy. So David, I don't think David's gonna be able to just walk him down. I don't think he's gonna be able to just walk him down like he do. So David, if David stay alert, stay on behind his jab and stay alert, I think he wins also.
Do you think, I don't know, I guess this is my perspective, and I could be wrong, right? But like when those championship fights that he's had with Kovalev and Arthur, he starts really strong, but he seems
Yeah,
like he fades a little bit, and it seems like David, for the most part, starts to pick it up more and more the later the fight goes, right?
right.
So, do you see a potential where David could drown him? I think Timothy Bradley mentioned
Yeah,
that he thinks he'll essentially drown him,
I
and
I think so. I think so. That's possible. Yep, I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
so what do you think Arthur needs to do besides just conditioning and try to, you
What you
know,
mean? You mean Yard? You mean Yard or
yeah,
David?
yeah. What does Anthony Yard need to do to, I guess, because if David's starting to snowball and he has a tendency to, obviously if he managed to get David out early, but like what would he need to do strategy wise to maintain this big guy from just completely dominating the fight across the board?
I think he need to work on his legs. I think he need to do about a couple hundred squats, like a couple times a week.
Hmm.
Keep his legs strong so he can stand his ground a little bit and fight David off of him. And without his legs giving out on him and getting tired, and when he need to take rounds off to box, I think his legs need to be up under him. He need to have a lot of endurance in his legs because he be up top, so he clearly can punch. He's heavy up top, but
Hmm.
he need to have a lot of endurance in his legs to match. He have a lot of endurance in his legs to match. He can. I think he can pull off an upset. You know, you stand to the ground if he starts. If he starts strong and start at David's body early, I think he can slow David down for the later rounds. If he give a David respect, give David something to worry about early, I think he can slow him down in the later rounds.
Do you think, from you being in the ring, does David have power that Anthony Yard would have to respect? He can't just,
I mean,
or is it
no,
accumulation?
no. Like when he hit me, I actually didn't feel it. He was just trying to overwhelm me, but he couldn't. He was trying though, but he couldn't. Um, but he was heavy. He was heavy when I sparred him, and he had some good shots, but nothing that I'm like ooh, like he just tried to overwhelm me. You know what I'm saying? And he hit David Morrell with the kitchen sink. He was blasting David Morrell and couldn't get him out of there. Bro, to be such a big guy and hit guys so many clean shots and can't knock him out cold. You know what I'm saying?
So I guess I would have to ask this, and it's just a teaser because we're far from that fight even materializing to what I'm going to bring up.
Yeah,
But if he's able to beat up, make it look easy, destroy Anthony Yard. I know that you mentioned like we still don't know what those previous fights have done to Yard. It's always the
yeah,
case because Yard
yeah.
has 3 losses, but if he destroys Yard, annihilates him, drowns him, beats him up, stops him, hurts him. I mean, him and Arthur, is that something Arthur 40, David stopping Yard? Would you at that point give David a potential? Because I know you're always high on Arthur to be able to compete, let alone maybe even have a chance of beating Arthur if he just
Yeah.
annihilates Anthony Yard.
Listen, listen, everybody has a chance of beating anybody when you step in there, right? But I'm going off the work. See, me, I go on the work. I don't go on my emotions. I go at Benavidez opponents and Arthur's opponents.
Yes.
Arthur's had the way tougher resume. Far fighting guys and knocking them out, like knocking them out. So I'm going off of that. I never said David was a good fighter. I'm like, if you go on the resume, it's night and day, night and day. I don't think that. Only way I can see David Benavidez beating Arthur if he get old like overnight. But I don't think that David brings anything to the table that Arthur hasn't seen. And I've been in the ring with David. I've been in the ring with Arthur. David don't punch hard enough to keep or stop Arthur from coming. That's just a fact.
Mhm.
He just don't punch hard enough. If he has some pop, I'd be like, yo, he ain't got no pop, and Arthur gonna keep coming. But the Arthur can crack. And my thing is when David get hit that hard, how is he gonna respond? Because just covering up like he do, he ain't gonna be able to do that.
Mhm.
He gonna fill them shots.
So how do
And,
you
Ar- and Arthur is physically an animal. He's physically an animal.
so with David's footwork compared to like Bivol's, right? Bivol was able to
David
move.
footwork. David ain't got no
What?
footwork.
Chill, chill.
Let me keep it real. I ain't gonna stretch it now.
Okay, well,
David footwork is nowhere near a Bivol
or
footwork.
okay, okay. Well, I was kind of alluding with David's footwork compared to Bivol's footwork. It seemed like Bivol's footwork was a huge key component for being able to make the fight competitive, right?
Right.
So with David not having the footwork that Bivol has, what attributes that he does possess, right? That would allow him to make it either competitive or a chance of winning the fight because everyone would assume you have to box Arthur, right?
Right.
So what's David's ability to potentially win an Arthur fight? Would it be a slug out fight where like you said he catches him like he's old overnight like almost like wow. Like
Right.
it's it
That's the only chance I see. And Arthur boxes better than what people give him for. Once they would find out that he's harder to hit than it looks, but I know he can hit me, that's where the problem gonna come in at.
could you see a world where David is the aggressor versus Arthur? Arthur's boxing? Cause
No,
like
no,
or no, Arthur just going right after like go after him. Cause he kind
I
of
can't see.
he
But but
boxed
but
Joe
but, but listen,
Smith.
listen, like I said, if he's yeah, and Joe Smith got knocked out in the first round. Was the second? The second round?
Somewhere. It was early. So
So he boxes. He can box. It's just that once that hawk come out, that's what you got to worry about. Like okay, and Arthur can punch, man. Like listen, Like I said, he's one of the hardest punchers. Yo, when you get hit, your body going to shot. You be like, whoa, what is that? And I think that's what I'll be interested in seeing when he hit David clean the first time. And David can't do. He's comfortable coming forward with his hands up and ripping shots off. Because Arthur's punching with him or punching in between and staying on him. Because Arthur ain't gonna go nowhere. He's gonna be right there for David, so he can rip off his 80 piece that he do. You know, it's just that when he start getting hit, and like I said, he can catch Arthur. Like Arthur get all overnight and get caught on the chin and knock Arthur out cold. That's possible too. But if I'm going off my boxing history, Arthur hasn't shown that he's slowing down. So I'm going off the resumes and the work activity and the level of the level of opposition. Come on, David Morrell. You can't compare David. Good fight. Listen, before I say this, David Morrell and Anthony Yarde are two good fighters, but they're not on the Bivol level.
You think Bevel doesn't get enough respect in
I,
boxing?
yeah, he's dope, man. Listen, I always thought he was dope. I didn't think he could beat Arthur, but he proved me wrong. And he's tougher than I thought he was, man. And he's a tough fight, man. He's a tough fight, man. It's a tough fight, man.